Hi friends, welcome to another brand video where I am going to take you through 25 brands that I think are worth picking up at the thrift store. These are my top 25 bread and butter brands that should normally sell for $30 or over, making you around a $20 profit, and brands that you will find on the regular. Hi, my name is Maria and I'm a part-time reseller on eBay and Poshmark, and while living my full life, working my full-time job, and taking care of my two beautiful children, I like to go thrifting, find clothes, and flip them online for a profit. So I have been doing some brand videos recently. We have done fastest selling brands. We have done best selling brands, which is actually kind of like my thrifting bucket list. And most recently we did bad brands that I would not recommend picking up. So I will have all three of those linked down below. And I have a new list that we're going to go through today. And yeah, as I said in the intro, these are brands that aren't the absolute fastest selling brands, and they are not going to make you $1 million, but they are consistent. These are the brands that keep my business running and that you can actually find. Like, if you go into a thrift store right now, you will find multiple things on this list. Guaranteed. Now, there are some caveats as we go through. It does not mean that you should run out and pay any price for every single item for every single one of these brands. Please, please, please do not take this as gospel, but use this as a guide to think twice, to say, okay, what size is it? What's the style? How much am I paying for it? And if those three things all check off, it might be worth picking up, and it might make you $20 or more profit. It might also make you a little bit less than that, and there are some times that it'll make you a little bit more than that. So use this as a jumping off point. These are brands that I am excited to find, not just at the bins, not just at my free swap meet days, not just at dollar days, but actually when I go into a Goodwill store. Do I pick them up every single time? No, but I pick them up frequently enough to really be the bones of my business. These are the brands that are selling daily for me. Okay, I hope that is enough caveats. I'm always really hesitant to do these brand videos, but you've been liking them. So please, please, please take that for what it's worth. I will go through kind of some caveats for each brand as we go through, of course. So let's dive right in. Most of these you have probably heard of. They are very, very recognized, but there might be a few that are new to you, and if so, I am happy to pass that information along. So the first one that I thought of as I was going through my sales, these are all items that I sell regularly, that there's nothing on this brand that I have never sold. The first one is Sigrid Olsen, and this one is almost exclusively Sigrid Olsen 100% linen items. They are kind of a Lagenlooky brand, but they do make items that are not a higher quality, that are just kind of blends. They are usually blends with natural materials. I would honestly stray away from those, but at the racks at Goodwill prices, I will pick up their 100% linen items. I think they might have 100% wool or others. I haven't found those. But their blouses, their pants, their dresses, they always sell well for me, and I can usually get $30 or more, especially for their pants or their dresses. Their tops might be more around the $25, but they always sell consistently, and they usually sell within 90 days. That's where I'm really looking. That's my target for these types of items. If I could sell them between 3 and 6 months, if they sell faster than that, fantastic. If they take longer than that, it does happen. But the 3 to 6 months for most of the brands on this list is really going to be your sweet spot. Also, because Sigrid Olsen and other brands on this list aren't the most exciting, other resellers might pass them. They're looking for the really, really big bangers, so you're more likely to find them. This brand obviously is going to sell better in moving into spring and summer, especially if you're picking up the linen pieces, so just keep that in mind. Okay, the next one also that is a little bit more seasonal, but it can sell all year round, is Title IX. Title IX is an activewear brand. It's often associated as a golfing brand, which that's a very target demographic for it, but it can be used for tennis and pickleball and running and walking and just living a healthy lifestyle. I don't find this brand every single time I go, but I find it often enough to sell it really well. And this one is, of the brands on this list, it's one of the more fast selling brands on this list. I usually sell this off within 30 or 60 days. I have found pants, I have found skirts, I have found shorts, I have found tops. And again, the more substantial pieces could make you between 30 and 50. If you're finding more of their basics, sure, you might get more around that $20 mark, but $30 is a really good average. As you can see, the logo that I popped up earlier, it's like a sequence of dots, I think. So stay on the lookout for that. This was one that when I started reselling, I was not familiar with, and I learned from somebody else's video, and I really do get excited every time I find it. Their athleisure dresses sell really well, and I'm very excited when I find those. Okay, next is one of the more controversial brands on this list. There's probably a few that are controversial that a lot of people leave behind, but end up being bread and butter for me, and that is okay. Everybody has their different business models, but that is Vineyard Vines. I still get excited when I find Vineyard Vines at Goodwill. I do not pick up every single piece. There are basics, there are really old things that just aren't in style, but if you watch my Goodwill Thrift With Me's, I pick Vineyard Vines up pretty frequently. I find the dresses, they're very nautical, very coastal, very like Martha's Vineyard, and you need to use all of those keywords when listing this. I like selling women's, I like selling men's, and I've even sold the kids stuff pretty successfully if you can buy it for, you know, just a couple dollars. Kids stuff at my store is usually like $2 to $3, so that's worth it to me. In this one, obviously, like the jackets, the outerwear are going to do really well. The women's dresses are going to do really well. I don't always pick up all the just like basic shirts and tops, especially like the men's button downs and stuff. I'm not going to pay $5 for it every time. I'd grab it at the bins every single time I found it though, because then I could price it a little bit less. Okay, moving on to a shoe brand, and that is FitFlop. This was another brand that I was not familiar with before I started reselling. I honestly mostly find sandals from them, but the premise is they are a comfort, like orthotic type brand. I'm using a lot of like comfortable walking, evening stroll, those types of keywords, and they usually sell between like 30 and 40 for me. I don't find this one all the time, but it's one that I don't think people are super familiar with. It doesn't get a lot of people excited. So when it's there, I think a lot of people pass by it. So keep in mind, it is FitFlop, not flip-flops. It is FitFlop, and all their shoes have this like big red circle on them, which is usually how I can spot them. Next, very bread and butter for me is J. Jill, and this is one that is heavily caveated because I do not pick up J. Jill every single time at the thrift, and I don't pick up J. Jill nowadays even every single time at like the bins. So the sweet spot that I have found for J. Jill, obviously anything substantial, but I'm really looking for like large and above, especially in the plus sizes, 1X, 2X, those will sell really well. J. Jill's another one that if you can find the more natural, heavily desired materials, wool, linen, I don't know if I've ever found silk from J. Jill actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But those pieces are going to do really well. Even just like if it's 100% cotton is better than if it has polyester mixed in. So yeah, I'm not picking up every single one of their just basic small tops for $5 at Goodwill. But if I'm finding a dress for a size large and above, it's usually going to sell for $30 to $35 for me. So again, I'm still getting about $20 profit for that. And I can find it almost every single time I go. So why not take that $10, $15, $20 profit and run with it? For my business model, that is okay. I'm obviously looking for it to be in really good condition. I will pass it if it is not, because I don't want to have to list. Some brands I will list even if there is a flaw that I see in the thrift store. But this is one that I would leave behind if it was flawed in any way. If I don't notice it and I get it home, I will still list it and disclose it, but I'm really trying to avoid that. Okay, next, moving to another activewear brand is Prana. If you watch my channel, you know that I love this brand. I am a sucker for it. I buy it basically every time I find it. It just sells well. I've heard other people say that they don't like selling it, so I don't know, maybe I have luck. I'm really curious to hear again with these brands, which ones of these are you leaving behind and which ones are you picking up? Do you have any that just like have a soft spot in your heart? For me, one of those on this list is Prana. They do a lot of hiking, camping, climbing, outdoors, gorpcore. I'm using all of those keywords every single time I find Prana. The things I get most excited for are men and women's, but especially men's hiking pants. They do really, really well. They're going to sell between like 35 and 40. And they're like jackets, their fleeces, things like that, even like quarter zips, those are going to sell really well. I have sold Prana like athleisure dresses, those do well. The t-shirts and the tops and stuff aren't going to make you a $20 profit, but they will still sell depending on the price point you can get them for. They still might be worth grabbing. Next is very similar to everything I said about J-Jill, and that is Chico's. Chico's, I also have kind of the size that I'm targeting more towards. It doesn't mean I'm never picking up the smaller sizes when I can get them cheap. They just take a lot longer to sell because I think it is more mature brand, and people, as they mature, most often, not always, but most often do then transition into larger sizes. So Chico's does have vanity sizes, so I'm really looking for Chico's size 2 sometimes, but really Chico's 3 and 4 for me. 3 for me I think is probably the best selling size. I think that translates to an extra large. And same thing, I'm not grabbing this every time I go to the Goodwill, but if I'm finding the more substantial pieces, I will absolutely get it because it can sell for $30, $35. Their blazers have done well for me. Their jackets have done well for me. Their like big pretty sweaters have done well for me. And they do have some really, really pretty styles. Chico's is expensive. So is J-Jill. If you look at their retail prices, go to their website and just scroll. They are very expensive. That doesn't completely translate to the retail market, but sometimes it does. If I can find new with tags Chico's, that's definitely a time where I would consider grabbing it at a normal thrift store. Okay, this is one of those soft spots for me is Lululemon. I haven't been telling you the numbers, but this is number 8 on my 25 brands list. Lululemon. Yes, I still grab basically every single time at Goodwill. Should I for every tank top and t-shirt? No. But I do. Don't tell on me. It really does. It really does sell. For those, I'm not going to make a $20 profit. Like just the basic leggings and the basic tees and tank tops are not what I'm talking about that will sell for $30 or more. They'll probably sell more for around $20. But if you can find specific styles, their shorts for me actually sell better than their leggings, especially the Hottie Hot shorts. All of the Align stuff, which you can see because the seam in the back is like a little V. Those all sell really, really well. And obviously, like, they're more substantial if you can find big sweatshirts and stuff do well. And then men's over women's. Men's for me usually always sells for $30 or more, unless it's really, really basic or there's something wrong with it. Men's sells faster for me than women's also. I don't think it's as saturated on the market. Some people leave behind Lulu if they cannot find the size in it, which I understand. I actually, in a recent bin thrift with me, which you guys haven't seen yet, but it's coming. So here's a sneak peek. Like right in front of me, someone threw back a piece of Lululemon and then I picked it up and they're like, oh, I couldn't find the size. And I was like, that's okay. Like, I'll measure it. I will figure it out. Moving back into another shoe brand is Klein, also very hiking, climbing, camping, outdoors, gorpcore. I love selling Klein hiking shoes. They have shoes, they have boots, they have sandals, and they just are really, really, really consistent sellers for me. They always do sell. The Klein Newport H2, you've probably heard me talk about, are just like their tried and true sandal. I find them fairly often. I have sold them literally dozens of times. And depending on the size, because I've sold from like teeny tiny, barely even walking toddler all the way up to like a large men's size. And they sell between like $18 and like $45 depending on it. But the sweet spot is right around $30 to be honest. So keep an eye out for Klein. I will pay for the kids' shoes usually up to $6 for them. And the men's and women's usually like $8 to $10 depending on if they're like a sandal or if they are a full-blown, hiking shoe. This is definitely one that comes with a lot of caveats, and that is Athleta. I leave behind a lot of Athleta at Goodwill. I did not always, but I am trying to be more selective about the type of Athleta that I am picking up. Athleta nowadays is putting the style name directly in the garment. So if it is a screen print tag, it usually has it just right written on there, or if it is a normal tag, it'll also say it right on there. But most of the time Athleta does screen printing, and so that means it's a more recent style. Usually when I can find those, it sells really well and fairly quickly. And then same thing, Athleta in the larger sizes isn't as saturated on Poshmark and eBay, so it tends to sell more quickly. So what I love to pick up at Rack's prices is the newer styles with the style name right in it in the larger sizes. And historically that has done really well for me, and I can oftentimes get $30 for that. Athleta is going to sell for like $20 or $25 a lot of times, but if you're picking up the more substantial things, you can definitely get $30 for an item. Moving back over to shoes, just like Klein is Merrell, everything I said about Klein is absolutely true for Merrell. I could have just done them together. They sell the whole gambit of types of shoes, from sandals all the way up to hiking boots. They will sell well. I will usually pay the same amount of money as I will pay for the Klein. I will use the exact same keywords in all of those. Merrell and Klein are two of my best selling shoe brands. They sell so consistently. They usually are going to sell not like instantaneously, but they do often sell within that like 30 to 60, 90, or up to 6 months kind of time frame. There are a few styles of sandals and Merrell shoes that do sell better than others for me, and that kind of comes with learning and experience once you've sold them frequently. There's like a sandal that's almost like a mule that sells really well. The Jungle Mock shoes in kids, women's, and men's all sell pretty well for me. And then when you can find the more substantial hiking boots that have like a mid shaft coming up, those are going to do really well because people have a bit more ankle support. So those are certainly going to be ones that will sell for over the $30 price point, but even some of their sandals, you can certainly get $30 for those as well. As bread and butter can be, that is Free People. Free People I find frequently, but not every single time. I do still get excited when I find Free People or We the Free. Just seeing that little metal tag pop out, especially when it's not poof, to fool me, I do get excited. But I am trying to be better about leaving behind really basic select things, especially like the We the Free basics that are like a cropped t-shirt. There was a time when I would pay the $5 for that, and they're not going to sell. Like some of the, I have a few of the like intimately Free People little bra me's, like the cami that's also like a bra. I have a few of those listed because I paid like the $6 for them, so I haven't priced them too low because I want to make sure I get my profit back out of them, and those are not selling. So this does not mean to run out and grab every single thing. But if you can find the really pretty dresses, I mean, any full-length dresses in Free People are going to do well, especially the very bohemian, like festival type ones. Anything that I can add like rodeo or Western keywords are going to be good. The jeans are hit or miss, so be careful with the jeans. I certainly would look for ones that are like their newer styles, because usually the people that are buying Free People are looking for the newer styles. I've been saying that I still like selling skinny jeans because even people like me will shop skinny jeans, but a lot of times the people that are shopping Free People are looking for the most current style. So just be cognizant of that. The people that are old school like me that still like their skinny jeans might not be looking to purchase those from Free People. We might just be looking for an American Eagle, which is why American Eagle continues to sell in skinny jeans for me. So that was a little bit of a tangent, but in that same vein, number 13 on my list is Anthropologie, and very, very similar thing. Anthropologie also is very sub-brand dependent. So I very much like selling Maeve is a good one for me. The Buy Anthropologie tag honestly doesn't do that bad for me. And this is one that really could have its own dedicated video. I mentioned doing a dedicated video of like best and worst of Anthropologie in a previous video, and a lot of you said you'd love to hear that, so I've got that written down on my like maybe video list. So stay tuned for that one. Anthropologie, again, in the larger sizes just isn't as saturated. So if I can find Anthropologie in like large, extra large, something like that, it usually sells a lot faster for me. It doesn't necessarily sell for more, but it's oftentimes going to sell faster. Next on the list is Kuhl, K-U-H-L. I know there's a few different Kuhl brands. Kuhl is another outdoor activewear brand for me. Hiking, camping, climbing, Yorkcore, all of those same keywords. It's very similar to Prana from me in how it sells. Kuhl also in the hiking pants are going to sell the best. If you can find things that are like a performance wool, those are going to sell really well because they have some like moisture wicking qualities, plus they are warm but not necessarily bulky and heavy. So anytime you do have something that is a wool or a merino wool especially, that is not like the scratchy wool that you think of, but is like a lighter, often the sweat wicking, some properties of that. Use the term performance merino wool because people are specifically looking for that keyword, and I do often find that in Kuhl. Kuhl is one that sells well in men's, sells well in women's. It probably sells more in men's. I actually find it more in men's. I think more men just shop the brand than women do, most likely. Number 15 is a formal like bridal brand, and it is a Zazi, and I'm pretty sure it's an online only brand, but it's one of those brands that they have a million styles and a million colors. Think of like David's Bridal. And so people can tell, you know, their bridesmaids, I want this style and this color, you know, something along those lines. And then people wear them once and they donate them. So I have found a Zazi a variety of times and it sells pretty well. It has always sold. I don't think I've ever sold it under $30. Obviously the cocktail ones for me are probably going to sell between like 30 and 40, maybe 45. And then the full length ones usually sell between like 45 and 65. And be very careful when you're buying these, especially the full length. The first thing I check, because it's gotten me before, is I check the bottom. Because think of if you're at a reception and there's people drinking or spilling drinks, or you're like walking around during outdoor photos, it is oftentimes stained around the bottom. So check that. Look for bad hem jobs. It might have been hemmed, you know, by hand or something. So look for all of those things, but it is definitely one to look out for. I will pay the like $8 price at Goodwill. I probably wouldn't pay more than that. These are also more of a longer tail item, so be aware of that. Just think of the fact that you need a specific buyer with a specific size, with a specific color, with a specific style. Bridal can take longer, but they do usually always sell for me. This one I will warn, it's hard to color match in my opinion. A Zazi does not put the style name or color of any sort on their tags. I can usually find the style by doing a Google image search of the dress itself. I'll just lay it on the floor, do the, you know, Google Lens, and it will usually come up, especially if I add in the keyword a Zazi to that search. But they have like 30 shades of blue and like 30 shades of purple. So sometimes I'm confident enough in the color that I will put their color in the listing. And there's been a couple times that I'm not exactly sure. So I will say like blue, parentheses, this appears like dark midnight or whatever the color they call it, but cannot confirm, because I'm sure people are sometimes told, hey, get the Jessica in dark midnight, and then they'll go online and look for other people. So I don't want to be the final word on that or get a claim returned back to me, but so far I've never had any issues. Number 16, very bread and butter, but definitely one that I love finding and I still get excited. This is one that like maybe was inching on the high end of bread and butter, like would be in more exciting brand lists, but I still put it in bread and butter, and that is Lily Pulitzer, because there's a whole gamut of things. There are some bolo Lily Pulitzer stuff out there. I sold a full length dress for like $105, but then I also sold a pair of linen shorts recently for $20. So 30 or more is definitely fair. Most of the time my Lily always sells for more than that, unless it's like a very, very basic shirt. And even the basic shirts though, like I've sold a couple recently that are like 100% linen and they still sold for like $25. But if you can find her dresses, she has like jumpsuits, she has skirts, most well known for her patterns. I do have some solids by her that I have sold before, but they take much, much, much longer. So just be aware of that. I have sold some of her vintage items, the white label tag. I'll put that in the listing because I think there's some people out there that are looking for vintage Lily and they know that it's the white tag. I'll put white label and I'll put white tag because I hear people call it both. So be cognizant of that. I've had a couple of those that sold really well, and I have a couple that like took forever. So there's probably, you know, Lily vintage is probably not all made the same. Some of it might be really highly desirable and some might not. Like I had one that was a really cute vanity print. It was like pink panthers all over it. And then I had these like floral pink and green pants that like probably no one wanted and they took forever to sell. So just be careful with that. But Lily Pulitzer, you can kind of tell her modern label pretty easily. It's also usually really easy to do a Google Lens search to find it and to comp it. But honestly, if I find Lily in the store in good condition, it's coming home with me basically every time, to be honest. Number 17, I've talked about pretty recently on my channel, and that is Toad & Co. You'll also see it sometimes in the thrift store still as Horny Toad, but for possibly obvious reasons, they did rebrand it's been a little while, probably like 5 to 10 years ago by now. So if I find Horny Toad label, I will still buy it, but I will list it under Toad & Co. And then in the description, I'll put like formerly known as Horny Toad, just so people put it together and don't think I messed it up. But this is also very similar to Prana and Cool in the fact that they're very outdoorsy. They are also very like environmentally friendly. Like they do a lot of organic type items, which if so, I will always put organic in the listing. I do list out the materials of all items. So if it's like organic cotton, it'll say it there. But if I have the room, I'll put it in the title specifically, because there are people that will only wear organic clothing or that would prefer to wear organic clothing. So be on the lookout for that. I'll also use the keyword natural, because a lot of people might be looking for natural fabric, natural materials. So they just have a lot of high quality kind of basics. They do have like t-shirts that might not be 100% whatever the item is. Sometimes I will pick up those, sometimes I won't, but their athleisure dresses do well for me. I've sold their shorts, I've sold their pants, I've sold their skirts, and they're easy listers because a lot of those brands, the one I just mentioned, the outdoorsy ones, I can just copy and paste those listings. Don't do more work than you have to. I do use List Perfectly, so I will just be like, oh, Toad & Co., I've sold their shorts before. I will click on that listing, I will copy my entire description, paste it over, and then I will make sure it still matches, that I don't need to update anything. I will update, of course, like the color, the size, the condition as needed, the measurements, and obviously new photos, and call it a day, because time is money, especially when you're a part-time reseller. Part-time resellers out there, hallelujah to you, because it is hard work and it is very difficult finding time to do things. So find those efficiencies where you can, especially when you're listing, so you can just go faster. Next, this is the only one on this list that was also already featured in one of my other brand lists, and that is Judy Blue. Judy Blue I featured in my fastest selling list, but I said that it's going to sell for kind of a reasonable price. Some of the fastest selling ones were ones that sell really high. Judy Blue, certainly, I think it's always sold for $30 or more, but usually between that $30 and $50 is the sweet spot. They do mostly denim. I think they have other items, but their jeans are really what I'm targeting here, because honestly, they're the only things that I've ever sold. I usually list them around $45. I have listed some that are like a really desirable size or style more than that, but I don't typically list them too much lower than that. And yeah, I can make a really good profit margin. So if I find these in the Goodwill, I am going to pick them up. I did find 2 pairs of shorts, just full disclosure, that they both actually sold pretty quick. But they sold for like $25 or so. So they might not technically have made me $20 profit to sell for $30 or more, but they sold quickly, so I was still happy with that. I think one sold for $24 or something like that. But absolutely a good bread and butter item. Tava is basically the third version of what I talked about with Keen and what I talked about with Merrill. Tava is a shoe brand. They do a lot of sandals. If you're familiar with Chaco, they just have this specific look to them. They're like this canvas, strappy sandal. They do have other types of shoes, but that's the most common one you're probably gonna find. I will pay usually 8 to 10. I would be careful paying 10 for them. I think I did pay 10 once, but they were brand new without tags. And those sold for like 35 or 40. So they certainly can be worth picking up at that price, but be very careful. I would stay around the $5-ish mark. But these keep selling consistently well for me. Like each time I list them, I'm like, I wonder how these will do. And then they do well. And I'm always surprised, but I don't know why I keep being surprised. I even had like a little kid size, I think sold for like 22 or something like that, which did surprise me, and I had gotten those at the bins. They're also easy. You can throw them in the washing machine if they do have some dirt or stuff, because again, all those outdoor camping, climbing keywords are what you're gonna want for this. Throw them in the washer and then just pull them out to dry. Do not put them in the dryer, and make sure you're doing them on a cold wash. And they usually come out looking pretty clean. Also, it might be Tava. So if anyone knows, let me know down below. Also, one of you in the comments did confirm that it is bonobos. I've been talking about bonobos, and I always think it's bonobos, but then I question myself of, is it bonobos? And at least if one of you lovely people is right, it is bonobos. Okay, moving on to number 20 is another one that I already featured on one of these lists, and it is Ralph Lauren. However, I'm going to caveat specific lines, just like I did the fastest brands video, or no, my bucket list brands video. That's what it was. I talked about Double RL, and I talked about Purple Label. Today, we're just talking about Ralph Lauren, Polo Ralph Lauren, probably Denim and Supply Ralph Lauren, and yeah, those are the ones I want to target. You're going to find these all day long at the thrift store. You're going to find like the men's button-down shirts. You're going to find quarter zips. You're going to find Ralph Lauren shirts and dresses. Don't pick up all of them unless you're like at the bins and that works for your business model. But pick up some of them. Obviously, people are familiar with like the big pony items. Those can sell for a lot better. Things in the big and tall sizes in Ralph Lauren, I don't know what it is, but that crowd tends to really like Ralph Lauren. So even if I find a basic polo in Polo Ralph Lauren with just like a little pony, I will pick it up if it's in like a 3XL, 4XL, 2XL tall, something like that, and it'll still sell for like $30 to $35. Some of the quarter zips and their nicer materials, obviously if you're finding cashmere, 100% wool, I will usually grab those. Ralph Lauren also can have some really beautiful full length or formal wear dresses. Don't pass by it just because you see that it's Ralph Lauren and Ralph Lauren seems so ubiquitous. It is, but those dresses can do very well, so keep an eye out for those. Denim and Supply is a kind of like a Western line from Ralph Lauren that's not sold anymore. So some people, I think, still are looking for it because it was so cute, and they just stand the test of time. Like if you're going to like a rodeo or a festival or a fair and you need something Western, this is the perfect brand. They have a lot of really cute dresses, plaids, florals, lots of ruffles. I will add like cowgirl, rodeo, Western, cowboy, festival, Southwestern sometimes depending on the print. And all of those things I just listed can easily sell between like 30 to 50 or more. So again, in like Ralph Lauren, Polo Ralph Lauren, be really careful not picking up everything, especially in the smaller sizes. But those are some genres that if you're being smart with your pickups, they can sell for $30 or more. Okay, we have 5 more. So number 21 is very similar to what I just talked about, and that is Calvin Klein. Calvin Klein, if you go, because I never go to the mall anymore, but I happened to be at one recently, and if you go in like Macy's and look around the Calvin Klein section, my gosh, the sticker shock that I had, because I see Calvin Klein at thrift stores all the time. All the time. And I'm seeing the exact same little professional pencil dresses for like $95, for $150. I'm like, oh my God, why are people not thrifting? I don't know. So it is very common. Don't go running out picking up every Calvin Klein. But sometimes it is worth it. Again, the professional wear and the formal wear are my favorite 2 categories from Calvin Klein. My thrift store specifically just has a thing for Calvin Klein. Same with Chico's. They price it at least like $12 or $16, no matter what it is, most of the time. And so I usually, because of that, have to pass it at the racks. At the bins, I pick up almost everything Calvin Klein, honestly. I know not everyone does, but especially their dresses, like their pencil dresses, they're so easy for me to measure and list. But just like Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein has a formal wear line that is stunning. They are very commonly like a go-to mother of the bride brand. And so if you can find those can sell really well. Calvin Klein trousers actually sell pretty well for me, especially in the larger sizes. They are ones that I grab every time at like the dollar days and things. But even at Goodwill, I will pick it up sometimes. Outerwear, I will pick it up. Really nice, fibers, wool, stuff like that. I don't know if I've ever found linen by Calvin Klein. But absolutely bread and butter for me. I do get excited about some of the pieces because I know that it will sell because it's just a staple seller for me. Okay, 3 out of the next 4 are more outdoorsy brands. Just know that I'm talking about all of those outdoorsy keywords again. And the first one is LL Bean. LL Bean is just such high quality, and LL Bean is expensive. Like, I don't know at Christmas if you guys would like pass around catalog, especially like in the good old days. I don't know if we do this anymore in the world of like Amazon registries, but we used to have like a physical, like when we would go to Christmases with like our aunts and cousins. Actually, this was usually at Thanksgiving with like our aunts and cousins and stuff. And they would separate like who had which cousins of the aunts and uncles. And so we would all be like circling things or like writing on a wish list. And then they would like use that to help buy us Christmas presents. And one of the catalogs that was always being passed around at my dad's side of the family, because they're very outdoorsy people. They go hunting, they go camping, was the LL Bean catalog. And so looking at that now as an adult, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is expensive stuff. Like, I was surprised. And it's very, very quality. So this is one where like, probably half, if not more than half the time at Goodwill, I am leaving it behind because it's very basic. But there are times when it is absolutely worth me picking up at normal thrift store prices. Really good quality materials if you're seeing wool items. And vintage LL Bean is really having a moment. It's having a moment by like the young hipstery kids. And I think it's just known for its quality. Even the items that like used to be made in USA that were even better quality than some of the items that are being made now by the brand. I think those outdoor people just are looking for the vintage stuff because they know it'll stand the test of time. So LL Bean, don't just brush over it. LL Bean to me is kind of above like Eddie Bauer, but like below Patagonia. It's kind of a middle ground for me. I thought about putting Patagonia on this list, but it ended up being like a little bit higher of a tier for me. So, okay. Next is Mountain Hardwear. Mountain Hardwear is also a good outdoorsy brand. They've got a very iconic logo that literally looks like hardware, like nuts and bolts and stuff. But these, one of my favorite things to find, if you can, is their down puffer jackets. They're usually like a packable. They're not always, but they're usually lightweight because when you're hiking and you might have to take them off, or you might be hiking in the afternoon and then need to put it on, whatever the case may be. Those are great. They always sell for more than $30 for me. Their pants do really well as well. Their hiking pants have done really well, always sell for $30 or more. I don't know if I've ever sold this for less than $30. Don't quote me on that, but it's possible. Very bread and butter. It doesn't ever sell. I don't know if I've ever sold it. I think I sold one for $55, actually, one of their down puffers. Not every puffer that they make is a down puffer. I will still pick it up. Just be careful when you're listing it. Obviously, you don't want to say something is down if it's just like a polyester fill, but it might still be worth picking up. Okay, number 24 I have is Born Concepts. Born Concepts is a shoe brand. They also do purses. I don't know if I've ever picked up their purses. No, I've never picked up one of their purses. I have found it at Goodwill, but it's always been priced too high for me to pick up. I probably would grab it at the bins, but not at the racks prices, which for me, I never see purses less than like $12, I feel, at Goodwill. But their shoes do really well. They're high quality, usually leather. Some of them are man-made, but the leather ones are the ones that I'm really targeting for this video. I have sold sandals. I have sold like mules and clogs. I have sold ankle boots. I have sold tall boots. And these are worth it for me to pick up at the 8 to 10 price mark. Even sometimes a little bit more if you're getting into like the more substantial leather boots. There is a line called BOC Born. Be more careful with that one. It does still sell, and I still list it under Born, but I absolutely put in the description that is BOC Born Concepts. It will still sell. I will grab it at the bins. I won't usually grab BOC at the racks prices because BOC is oftentimes man-made and not leather. Sometimes it is leather, but it doesn't sell quite as well for me as Born Concepts. So keep that in mind as it relates to this video, but a $30 price point for Born Concepts is really fair. And last but not least, tried and true bread and butter is the North Face. I know a lot of people don't like selling the North Face for some reason, or it's at least not worth picking up for them at Goodwill. It's still worth it to me unless my Goodwill has it priced up, because they also like to price this one up. But if this is regular priced at my Goodwill, I will pick it up almost every single time because it does generally average around that $30 price point. Some of the shirts or shorts or whatever are going to sell less than that. But when you get into the jackets, when you get into the pants, when you get into like more substantial long sleeves or performance wool stuff, Base layer is a really good keyword for the North Face. So things that you could layer on under something else and that are very warm. Performance merino wool is a really common fabric for base layer. Anything that's lightweight in performance merino wool, like the pants, short sleeve or long sleeve, I will always use the keyword base layer in the title because I think people are looking for that. All right, that was my 25th item. So again, remember, this was a list of bread and butter items that I think can absolutely garner you a $30 price point to make you a $20 profit. I have a lot of other bread and butter brands that will get you like a $20 price point to make you between a $10 and a $15 profit. If that is a video you would like to see, let me know. Those are like the American Eagles of the world, just to put that in your brain. So that does not mean these are my only bread and butter items, but I was really looking for ones that I often think are still worth picking up at the Goodwill. There's probably another video to be made though about bread and butter items that to me are worth picking up at like Dollar Days or the bins. So let me know if you would be interested in seeing that. And of course, let me know, was this a garbage list in your opinion? Would you pick these up at Goodwill? And then what did I miss? What are some other items that you can find on the regular that will get you a $30 sale? And that is it for today, thankfully, because I think my son just woke up from his nap, so I am going to get him. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Don't forget to subscribe down below. What are you doing? Give this video a big thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye.